All right. So good evening, everybody. Good evening. So I guess people will keep joining us along the line. So I'll give a little bit introduction of what we did last week. All right. Last week we started the crypto job series. All right. We said a lot of things about career and choosing the right one. And I mentioned things like you know, picking the right rules. All right. You pick it starting with some kind of rules that could easily help you get a job, especially if you are new to the Web3 space. All right, you can't be getting to the Web3 space newly and you start from things like product design. It's gonna be tough. All right, even with people hiring you, it's gonna be tough and everything. So it's easier to get rules like graphic design, content writing, community moderation, and yeah, the rest of them. So it's quite simpler like that. So so that's it. Yeah, and I also mentioned things around I mentioned things around how we can get these jobs, and I said the logical thing is when you connect to these projects, it's good to connect to startups, all right, projects that are still launching. So I showed us how we could get um get access to these projects or check out these projects. I shared it to us with CoinGecko, and you could also do that on CoinMarketCap. All right. So there is other platforms. Just um Esther, are you on this call? Esther, okay. Chinese, what's up?
Yeah.
Yeah, share some links in the community where you can get like maybe that DeFi Lemma link. Please share it here.
Is it the
So
Falama?
yes, share DeFi Lemma here. So DeFi Lemma is another platform uh where you can reach out to early projects, and that one is better because they only list utility-based project. All right, they only focus on utility-based project. So why some of these other platforms list randomly, both main projects, non-main projects, all kind of projects, but the file actually focus on utility, and you stand more chance getting a job with utility projects because they tend to last longer than some of this meme coin that's just pump and dump and everybody disappears and they move on to the next. So like I said, there are more basic skills you get, and some things I didn't really mention the last time are things around being smart. All right, one of the main things of getting a crypto job, you can have a skill, but if you are not smart enough, you perish with your skill. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it like that, but that is simply what it is. If you are not like smart with your skill, if you are not smart, all right, to get a job, you just have a skill and waste away. And I told you that you that in as much as, in fact, knowing how excuse me knowing how to get a job, all right, is more important than having a skill. You can write that down. Knowing how to get a job, all right, the art. And don't just think that jobs fall on people. All right, yeah, getting a skill is very important. It's self-improving, but knowing how to get a job, yeah, is more important than that skill. Because if you know how to get a job, you can be a knowing how to if you know how to get jobs, you can be a contractor. All right, sometimes I'm telling you from my own personal experience, most jobs I get, I don't handle them myself. All right, when I get gigs around development, I don't do development myself. I give it to people and I take my percentage. Like I bargain with the clients and I bargain with the person that will do the website. And okay, once we reach an agreement, I pay the client pays me when I deliver. The client pays me what he's supposed to pay me, and I pay the person that did the job what I'm supposed to pay the person. You get? So I take my percentage. I give the person that did the job his percentage. All right. So it's not necessarily that you need to really have these skills. Basically, sometimes some skills I'm even like making inquiries about is to just understand how it works, because maybe let me say, okay, I'm someone that's conversant with designs. Actually, I can do designs. All right, but because of one or two things, I prefer giving out the job. All right, it makes it more convenient for me so that I can attend to other things. So uh, with that now, I can take interviews on designs and seamlessly, because yes, I understand how these things works. on development, I can handle interviews on development. All right. And it's good to have people you can work closely with. With that, you can even scale through. All right. So adding some of these things, you can not, you mustn't be a designer to get a job on design. You just need to know how design works, how you can defend your mouth. If you know how you can defend yourself and handle interviews with a client, all right. Okay, for instance now, let me say, oh, you uh excuse me, sorry about that. Let me say, for instance now, you are to, oh, you want to get a design-based job, all right. You want to apply as a graphic designer, or you're reaching out to people to, be design for them, maybe on contract basis. And yeah, getting jobs, they can happen in different form. It's something I said I was part of what I'm going to explain today. There are contract based, there are different employment basis, or necessarily yes, we like with the employment basis. There are part-time roles, there are full-time roles, and there are contract basis. All right, there's contract. That contract is like a one-time thing, and there are jobs that are one-time. There are one that are full-times. Okay, so let's just say a client wants you to design a website for him or her. That one is a contract, all right. Or let's it's like a big website that will need maintenance. But if it's just like maybe a landing page or something, if it's like a landing page or something, a landing page, what do I mean by a landing page website? Okay, let me give you an example of a landing page website. So you guys will be paying me extra for this one because it's not part of what I'm supposed to tell you. That's the joke, right? So let me just share my screen. You can see my screen here. If you can see my screen, please say something.
Yeah, I can.
All right,
Yeah, I can see it.
perfect. Let me have an example of a landing page website. What do I do now? Which website do I use? Okay, let me check maybe one of the gigs I've worked on. Okay, yeah. Let me try this now. Okay, this is quite, the mobile is quite messy. Let me change to desktop. Okay, the desktop works by the way. Let me just change it back to mobile. All right, so this is like, you can see this website I'm showing you guys here. So this is like something I did for a client. All right, even though I didn't design this myself, I took the job, I gave it to someone. The person designed the website. I took my share. You get. So this is like a landing page website. So this is like a one-time thing. This website doesn't need maintenance. This is like an info website. They call it info website. Just like if you visited the Casper website, even though we are trying to give it more, we are trying to give the Casper website more visibility, that we could use it for other things than just more than an info website. Okay, now if you see the Casper website, this is like sound like an info web, just partly an info website, even though it's something that requires maintenance because like some things needs to be changed from time to time and the look, all right, depending on your client. So it depends on the project, all right. If someone wants to run like a meme project, a meme-based project, all right, the person, it's like a one-time thing. So it's like, so contract like that this is just basically what a landing page website is. So contracts like that like they are or gigs like that rather are called contracts. Is a one-time thing. Then part-time is maybe you work like 3 times in a week, depending on what you discuss with the client. Then full-time is when you work like maybe 5 times in a week, 8 hours a day. All right, it's like the normal 9 to 5. But this one is that you are working from your home. All right. So, but mostly in the crypto space, it's not only few companies work like that. Everybody works flexible. You just have a deadline to deliver your tax. Okay, they give you tax and you have a deadline to deliver. Maybe we send you you give you a design tax to do, and you have to deliver it in you have to deliver it in 3 days or 24 hours or 12 hours. All right, guys. So before I continue, so since more of us are on the call, I would like us, I said we should do something earlier. I would like us to grab the design flyer in the community. Yes, it's there. Grab the design flyer, then copy the call link, paste on your social media, maybe your WhatsApp status or something. I would like you to invite someone. So I want us to all quickly do that if you haven't done it. And once you do it, just drop an emoji in the community indicating you've done it. All right. So just everyone on this call, please quickly do that. Even if you've done it before, do it again. All right. Thank you. So like I was saying, there are different gigs that can come. Okay, I just gave you an example with website design now or website development. This is just a landing page website. It's just an info website. All right. Then kind of websites that will need maintenance. If it's like a platform that needs a blog, all right, if they have a blog, like the Casper website now has a blog, it needs someone that will be managing it and be updating news and everything. So it's a different kind of gig. Or if it's like a DApp that will need maintenance, upgrade. If it's like a product website, maybe it's a website that will need how do I put it now? Maybe the website has a DApp side. Maybe it's a swap or is an exchange or is a staking platform. All right, it will need maintenance from time to time. So employments like that are like full time. All right, it's not really a one-time thing. They will need you as a standby developer to be maintaining it and everything. All right. So that's another part to it. So I was giving an illustration when I started earlier. Why I came into the angles of the job role is last week I said a lot about skills, but this today I want to say a lot about jobs, all right, and handling clients. Getting at jobs and handling clients. Because I got some people were talking to me, all right, and some of them like, okay, they had clients reach out to them, and what messed it up was like their conversation. So I'll be telling you some kind of mistakes you shouldn't make when you're discussing with a client. All right, let me use design. And something I said is you don't really know how to know these skills to your toe. Even if you're still learning how to design and you've understood the basics, you can handle an interview. You mustn't be a pro. You just need to know who is a pro and get the job. And you get a job and you negotiate with them. You take your percentage. In fact, that was how I started. Even before I had to learn, like even before I learned how to design, all right, I was already collecting design gig. I have my very close cousin. He's very good with design. So what I do is, he worked for one company before. I collected his job samples. All right, his design samples. I work with it as my portfolio. In fact, yeah, then like now I'll encourage you, maybe not try to. In fact, sometimes people use people's portfolio. Because this Telegram now, let's assume that you reach out to that person on Telegram. This Telegram now, even though I would suggest to you maybe just have like create a Google Doc. Is it Google Doc now? What did you call this thing? Maybe Google Cloud, where you can upload Google Drive, not Google Cloud. Cloud is for this other platform. iCloud, not Cloud is for iPhone. Google Drive, where you upload some of the design. You can arrange them there, all right, categorize it, maybe logos, banners, white papers, all right. So like now, like I was saying, it mustn't even be a designer, all right, like, or a pro designer. You can still be learning as long as you understand the terminologies, how it works, and you can attend to an interview. You are good to get a job, all right. So if you can design perfectly yourself, that's still okay. But I'm just saying you mustn't wait to be very good for it to start reaching out for jobs. See, job hunt, in fact, let me bust it to you. Job hunting is a skill. Like if you know how to job hunt and get job, you have a solid skill. Like in fact, you have the most valuable skill. So this is why I'm making so much emphasis on knowing how to job. But if you can job hunt is not wasting your time. If you can get gigs, like you are the bigger person. Then if on top you can know how to get gigs, then you can now handle the ones. Maybe you are now a developer, you designer yourself, or a writer. Perfect. But like now, as a designer, you can be getting writing gigs. This is what I'm saying. You just need to know, okay, what's the terminology? Have samples you send to clients. All right. I've taken jobs, writing jobs. I've handled writing jobs. I don't know how to write shit. All I just did is, I had friends. That's why I was big on network the last time I spoke. I was very, very big on network. You must have strong network. You must have serious people around you. You cannot want to go far and people are keeping around you. People cannot take it to your next level. If there's one thing that pushed me this far to where I am now is I have like strong network. Among my clique, there's no kind of skill I'm looking for, I can't find. I have developers, I have designers, I have writers, I have like developers, both websites, back end. Like I have a full clique. In fact, if I want to start a project like this now, I have a full team to start a project with. Like I was talking to one client when they was like, they needed workers. I was like, how many people do you need? Because I have a lot of them. All right. So your circle really matters. Even your clique. Okay, based on the level I am, I have people that work for me. But you should now, like then I started with my clique, I started with my friends. So the kind of friends you keep matter. If you know, okay, you know these people, this person is very good at this thing, you keep him around. Be smart. You keep the person around. You get this job, you give them, you can pay them Nigerian rates and collect in dollar rates. All right. You can pay them Nigerian collect. It's your gig. And yeah, whether you like it or not, as far as everyone giving the gig to them, yeah, it's naira. All right. All right. If it's in fact, you can do it as a plurality. You can even split it. Maybe it takes 60, the person takes 40. As long as it's based on what you agree. In fact, you don't even owe the person to tell the person, how much they are paying you. Or unless you want to be transparent. It's your business. All right. So, but what I'm saying is, you have to really be very smart about this whole thing. Know how to get a job. Okay, now, I was giving an illustration about how I got the gig. I'm using design, for instance, now. I collected job samples. All right. I collected some job samples from my cousin. All right. So I collected maybe designs. And with these designs, I could reach out to be like, oh, hi, my name is Noel. I'm a graphic designer. I've been in the Web3 space for about 2 years, blah, blah, blah. I create solid graphics. So this mic is on. Please mute yourself. So I create solid graphics, blah, 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 and everything. And anybody can get interested and be like, oh, because the first thing the client to tell you is send sample. Send proof. That's why I said a lot of things last week about portfolio. Send proof. That's why I said a lot of things about portfolio last week. All right. So one of the things is that because these people don't know you, some clients come in different angles. Some will tell you send portfolio. Some will give you a test task. Even though I don't really do test tasks that much. All right. But if you are new, just get used to it. Clients want to say, oh, do test designs. All right, for them to prove your skills. So at your beginning stage, when you are still looking for a job, you can do it. Some of them, after doing the test design, they can ditch you. All right, they will dump you. Don't feel so bad. It's part of the growth. All right. So it's just that it gets to a level where you've already built you've gotten to a certain level, and you don't need to have to be doing all that. Any client that is not serious, you send the person a portfolio. If the person doesn't want to work with your portfolio, you leave the person and go. All right. But at the beginning stage, it's fine. You can do free designs. Yeah, using it to build your portfolio too. So that's why I said it's part of the conversation you need to have with the person. That's why I said it's good to work with your friends, because they are quite more understanding than just clients and everything. So you see the thing I'm saying now. I collected design sample. Once a client messages you, you send your introduce yourself. Oh, I'm this. I'm a designer. The first person will say, oh, send a sample. When you send these samples and the person likes them, all right, and the person likes them. In fact, I'm telling everyone here, if you can do this and you don't know, if you want to go into it and maybe client tells you to send a sample and you don't know what to then chat me up. As long as design is concerned, even development, chat me up. I'll send you work samples to send to the person. See, all these whole things are about being smart. It's not really about having the skill. That's where in this crypto space, being smart is the biggest skill you can have. All right. Yeah, even that's why I was saying something about You can, in fact, it's not even must, you must have a skill. There are rules in the crypto space that, in fact, if you are good with sales, right? If there are roles we call collab manager. All right, I'll be going back and forth in my statement because I really want to touch a lot of things. There's a role in crypto they call collab manager. What do they do? It's just to connect two projects together to form valid partnership. All right, it's just to connect two projects together to form valid partnership. That's what they do. That one, you don't need a skill. All you just need to understand what the project is all about and understand what they want. That's why I told you guys that knowing the basics of crypto, like understanding how crypto works, is a good run. Is a good, like, you already have enough to run with. So, like this now, I'm using design as an illustration. Even before I started, like, in fact, I started designing myself was last year. Earlier than last year, I've never handled any design tool. But if you follow me talk here, I've handled over. I'm not. Let me not mix words. I think if I'm not mistaken, over the years or before I started designing, I've handled like about 30 to 50 clients. Like, I've done designs for about 30 to 50 clients. Like a lot of people. All right. Because it's like I started jobs in 2021 and it was design I started with because I already had a cousin that knows how to design. So it was easy for me to use his job samples and be like, okay. So I'll be like playing with us right now. I'll be making some emphasis. So, and another thing is, that's why I said have a good portfolio or have a portfolio. Then another angle things coming because I'll be saying a lot of things are around interacting with clients, all right? Interacting with clients. And another thing is for writers now, have your LinkedIn, put your works out there on LinkedIn, put your works out there on Twitter, put your work out there on Medium, all right? You can, when a client requests for your writing, if you've written things like white papers, all right, that is another angle. I don't know, even it's a very big gig, all right, writing white papers for projects. If you're a writer here, I'll give you, go check out projects, all right, check out crypto projects. Maybe with these links, you check out new crypto projects. You can even request, even if you can even stumble to, as a writer, you can stumble to projects, all right, and tell them that, that you can, in fact, every good project should have a white paper. So even if you are researching on a project and you find out that, these people don't have a white paper, you can tell them that, you're checking to your website and you're looking for white paper and you didn't find any, that, whether do they have a white paper? And they will be like, some might be like, we are working on it. I'm like, okay, I'm a writer. Okay, I've written some white paper in the past. I could help your projects come up with a white paper. And you tell them the importance of having a white paper. And part of the importance of having a white paper is it gives your project more credibility. All right. You have to be you need to understand what you're doing. So you see, this thing I'm saying now is what I've told the client before. I've collected writing gigs. I'm not a writer. I've not written shit in my life. All right. But I have idea of these things, and that's what I'm telling you. I'm not saying you should be a jack of all trades, but I mean, it has really paid me off because I can come and look at your writing. I can criticize your writing and tell you 1001 things wrong with your writing. I could come look at your design. I'll criticize your design and tell you what's wrong with your design. I can come look at this website. I'm like, this thing doesn't sit well. There are some things wrong with this thing. I could tell you a lot of programming language, all right, or what a basic website use. I could even argue with you with your own code. All right, I don't write code. Okay, I write code, but I'm not like a core developer. I write like, in fact, the last time I wrote a code, I think it's almost about a year. The last time I wrote a code. All right, so that is the thing. You really need to have to be smart about this, and why I'm actually being very plain like this because some of these things I'm telling you is what they tell you in paid classes. And why I'm saying these things here is I am someone that I'm very free. Things that works for me, I like sharing with people. Because there are opportunities out there. You just have to be smart enough to get it. The opportunities are for the smart, not the hardworking people. That's why I said, yes, getting skill is important, but being smart is like the ultimate skill you can have in this crypto space. Smart and fast. If you are not smart and if you are not fast, you must be smart, you must be fast, you must be flexible. Know what it's saying at a time. You can even reach out to a project that, you can even reach out to a project like, no, you might be a writer and be like, okay, they don't need a writer, or they don't need a writer. You can say, okay, so what do you need? That is why I tell you, when in fact, if you're a writer here and you are sending your request out, add designer. If there's something I say, if you're a writer, have idea. You mustn't even like really know these skills yourself. Have an idea of it. Know how it works. All right. Have an idea of it. Know how it works. If a writer, get 1 or 2 contacts of designers. Get 1 or 2 contacts of social media managers. Get 1 or 2 contacts of community managers. Okay. In fact, as a writer, in the crypto space, community moderation should be even part of your skill. Like anybody that is into the crypto space, in fact, it's just like the gateway. There's unless like maybe a developer, but anybody that have done non-tech skills in the crypto space must have done community moderation one way or the other. Community moderation and project shilling. Project shilling is that one that you don't even need skill. All you just do is I think I've connected some people from my community there. In project shilling, you just go to Twitter, then you write something about the project, add the tag, maybe you go to sort of influencers post, and projects want you to talk about them. Like people get paid for talking about projects on Twitter. It's called Twitter shilling. All right. So there are opportunities out there. Like I said, you have to be smart. You really, really have to be smart. You really have to be flexible, and you have to be fast. Don't allow opportunities pass you by. You can even all right, I was making some like emphasis on white paper now. You can maybe, let's say, okay, you get a white paper gig. You're a writer. I'll be like, oh, after writing, I'll be like, even if what you discuss with them was okay for you to write a white paper for them. I don't know who I'm saying this white paper. Who knows what the white paper is? Who knows what the white paper is? So that I don't get in the whole crypto. Well, white paper is white paper everywhere. White paper is in the crypto space. Who knows what the white paper is? Like people from the community, not the admins now. So okay, same way a white paper. A white paper is just like a documentation that carries information about a project. All right, maybe some information that might not be found in the website. Like the white paper carries like a more detailed documentation. The whole website is just for fancy paparazzi. All informations are not always there. So the white paper carries this information, and there are structures of like there are ways this white paper are being written. You get. So you have to. That's why I said if you're a writer here, it's one thing that has given writers money, even though it has to do a little bit with technical writing because there are some terminologies you need to understand, but they are not very ambiguous. It's just like it's not like I'm writing a proper code documentation or development documentation. It's not the same thing. It's somewhere in between. All right. So excuse me. So see what I'm saying? Let's assume that you're a writer now. You get this gig. All right. And after writing, you can tell the clients that, I can design this too, even if you cannot. Say you can. When you tell the person you can. That's why I said you need to be very flexible. Have people connected with you. Like if I search now, I have like 4 or 5 white paper designs on my phone that I use to get jobs. And I know they write, I know they design. All right. So, but I have friends that do these things. So I'll just I think one was the one I got, like, white paper. I'm like, I searched, I was in one of these job groups, like, hi, if you need a white paper and design for it, hit me up. Something like that. Someone reached out, okay, needed a white paper. I contacted one of my guys. I'm like, how far? Send me white paper samples. He sent me white paper samples. I sent to the client, and he was like, okay, what about designs? Obviously, design. I know they like that one. I checked out. I had some white paper already designed, because this white paper, apart from writing it, it has to be designed to look attractive. Designed and for it to look attractive and everything. So I had some designs. I sent it. So you have to be smart about these things. So even if as a writer, you finish writing white paper, you tell client that, oh, this thing needs to be designed so that it can look more attractive, because some of these people, they don't really know. All right. And you have to show them that you're good at what you do. In fact, you can connect to the client, and maybe there was one client. Okay, let me give you for an example. Like, there was this client. I was supposed to do a development for him. All right. I was supposed to develop a bot. In fact, that website I just shared with you, this meme lab, that was the client. I was the one that handled that gig. So I was supposed to do a bot for him, like a bot, develop a meme bot. All right. Yeah, like a Telegram bot that you can create meme with. I did that. So when I was now asking him, I was like, what about the branding? What are we going to use for the bot and everything? So he said, oh, he doesn't have a website yet, he doesn't have a branding yet. I'm like, that's part of what I do now, that I can handle it too. That was how I collected. I did the bot, I did the website, I did the logo. I did all these things. So this was supposed to just be, I was just supposed to design the bot, develop the bot for his project. But I was smart enough to be like, okay, how far this? You can even be doing maybe you can even do learn how to penetrate clients. That's basically what I'm saying here. You can even, I'm using white paper, for instance. You can even be doing white paper. There, like, okay, after the project, this thing will need a good design so that people can actually get my attention on the project. And you can even give your honest thought. I'll be like, I think we should improve. I think we should improve the design of the project. And once you come with that angle, not being arrogant, not trying to talk down what is there, all right, you can just say, I think we should improve it, gonna get more attention for us, all right. You're already sounding like you know what you know what they are doing. Even if you don't know what they are doing, you're already sounding like you know what you are doing, all right. And this thing I'm telling you I did, this thing I'm telling you now, it's not like I said it yesterday. This thing was how I started. In fact, the first crypto job I got on my own, I worked there as a project manager. Very funny, right? How did I do that? I applied as a designer. I wanted to just do a design. The guy was like, so I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Is there a content writer on the team? They said, oh, there's no content writer. Oh, I said, I have a guy. I said, okay, apart from content writer, do you know that was how I brought even the project didn't last more than 2 weeks. I didn't work with them more than 2 weeks, but at least that 1 week, I made all of us made $50. All right. All of us made $50 because I had to bring all my guys on board. So this thing still now boils down to that thing I said about networking. All right. You really have to have the right company around you. And this is a community we are growing. We are here. Many people here have different skills. Connect with them. That is the whole essence of community. All right. Even though we are planning to come up with a better structure, skill, the whole Web3 skill wise thing. All right. But before we get there, in this community now, people have different skills. All right. In fact, as I'm even talking now, you can even paste your skills so that people can connect with you. All right. If you're a designer, if you're a writer, connect with people. This is part of the reason why this community exists. So you have to be smart about these things, because I was saying something. If you only know your own skill, you'll be limited. Like now, if my friends want to introduce me, they introduce me like, oh, I did do everything. I did do design, I did do writing, I did do development. And it's not like I actually do all these things myself. But I handle these gigs, and when I think one of them has seen me taking and the thing is that as you are going, you are getting better with it, and you are getting bolder with it, and you are bagging big deals. I remember the first time I handled a $6,000 deal. I'm not capping. That was this year, January. Like it was, I think the client made a deposit of $2,000. I checked my phone like 14 times to be sure that now my wallet this money day. So you get what I'm saying? So you have to really be smart about these things. Having a skill is important. Knowing how to get a job and being smart about it is more important or importanter, if there's anything like that. So that's the thing. All right. So talking about a client relationship now, I'll be making some scenarios. All right. When a client tends to send a portfolio, all right, like I've mentioned things about writing. Then for people like community managers and social media managers, it's always hard when they say send a portfolio. For community managers here, or community moderators, all right, community managers, you can talk about projects you've worked with, all right, because I know people have then I'm like, okay, if you've worked with any project, maybe the project is still existing or they are no longer existing, it's fine. Just have it properly documented. You worked with this project from so time to so time. You worked with this project from so time to so time. All right. Just have it properly documented. So because even as a social media manager, you manage this social media account. You just have to have a proper documentation of like people you've worked with, maybe in form of your CV or portfolio. You can just give a detail of, okay, I worked with this project from so time to so time. This is what I did for them. I worked with this project from so time to so time. This is what I did them. You can send it as your portfolio. All right. It's I know it looks like a CV, but you can send it. You can make it in portfolio format and drop the link to the social media platform if it's still existing or if the project is still existing. All right. So this is what you can send as portfolio, like I'm saying. Now then, as a developer, obviously you need to have a GitHub repo. All right. Most clients prefer you send your GitHub as a developer. So once you develop, GitHub is one of like the most important things you need to learn how to use, like as a developer. Because if you are good at what you do, or even though you can launch Vercel, you can upload it on Vercel. That is, I'm talking to developers now. If you're a developer, you can upload this thing on Vercel, all right, and drop the links for the clients. But most clients think you maybe are just downloading, sending them some random website. They prefer GitHub repos. So that's why you should know how to use GitHub. All right. So when you hear a conversation with clients, first thing they ask you is to send your portfolio. You can send samples. I already talked about how designers can put out your portfolio, writers too. All right, community managers and developers. All right. Then another thing is they ask you, what is your rate? What is your rate? Earlier I spoke about different types of gigs. I said some are full time, some are part time, and contract. Like now, contract based to develop a website for a client. I like when you're talking to the client, use range. Use range. Don't just say, oh, $500, oh, $1,000, oh, $300, oh, $200. If you say, okay, I need a logo, what does a logo cost? Okay, logo is quite more specific. All right, you can tell the client $100 to $200, all right, depending on the complication on the logo, or depending on the complexity of the logo, something like that. I'm using for designers now, for instance. All right. Then that $100 now, from that $100, even if the person say, oh, what I have is $70 or what I have is $60, you see, the person, you can now have a good bargain, or the person has inside that $100 or $150, or this is my budget. But sometimes when the clients ask you what is your rate, you ask them their budget. It's more polite to ask them their budget, or what do they have in mind, or like what do they budget to pay. Even though some people don't like me ask their budget, I think I encountered one time, and she was very sarcastic. Even though it's a Nigerian, they can be like that. So, but you honestly like, oh, that you're open to know what their budget is. But if they insist that you say your rate, always use range. Is a big advice. Always use range. Like for a designer now, for designers now, maybe designers, writer, community manager, the average salary is like $500. All right, for a designer now, it can be like, okay, for community managers, people could pay you 300. Sorry, community moderators, we will pay 300, 200. All right, then community managers, please, even if a project is not buoyant enough to pay you up to 1,000, that is why I said use a range. Like now, if you want to, as a social media manager or as a designer, and you want to say, okay, say, oh, what is your monthly rate? You use range like $500 to $1,000. This is your monthly salary. So you are putting it in such a way that, oh, even if a project, unless they want to pay you above $1,000, all right, but what you are saying is not too low, it's not too high. So you are extending it to a place of $1,000 depending on what they can afford, and you are bringing it down to $500 so it doesn't look too high, and you are putting it up to $1,000 so it doesn't look too low. Range, use range, all right? Use range. Always use range when you are talking about budget, or let's maybe say, in fact, always use range. Or let's maybe you've talked with a client and okay, they've told you exactly what they want, all right? Then you cannot give a specific amount. And in case like that, if you are confused, reach out to me, no matter the role. Reach out to me. I'm always online. I'm always here. Ping me. I've had some of my people make that kind of mistakes. And I'm like, why am I here then? If you can't reach out to me when you're confused, you go make the mistake, then you're not coming to tell me that, oh, you made a mistake. What did I want to do that time? So always use range, all right? Especially if it's like a full-time role you are applying for. If it's a full-time role, always use range. It's very, very important to use salary range. Then interviews with clients. It could be diverse. Actually, I've someone that I've not really had so much interview. Well, I used to have interviews, but just flow with the interview. Be good at what you do, all right, and be very, very outspoken. Don't sound so unsure. I think I have one of the developers that work for me. Is he here? I don't think he's on this call. So one of the developers that work for me, the day I had an interview with him, he's good at what he does, but he sounded so unsure. Like all my whole friends was like, don't work with this guy. Like he might mess this project up. In fact, the $6,000 project I was telling you about, it was him I worked that project with. All right. Yeah, I was looking for a developer to do it. Many people I saw online were calling amounts for me. So I found this guy and he was like, okay, see what I'll do with. I was like, he was like way cheaper than what other people were telling me. So okay, that's good. But I was like, this guy wasn't so sure about himself, and that is the worst thing you can be. Don't go there and stammer. All right. Say that one you know. Right. And don't be shy. Don't be shy to tell your clients that, oh, you don't really know this thing. I know it might sound somehow, but it's better you openly tell them that, because especially if you are working with foreigners, if there's one thing that will keep you up in your game is sincerity. I know we are Africans, we are blacks. We like to, maneuver everything, but learn how to be sincere. I will tell you, it will help you a lot. I know, and you have to pinpoint when a gig is about to be a trouble to you. All right. I know there was this gig that was coming. So the guy wanted me, was like, oh, I was like, okay, I'm a designer, I'm a web developer. So the person was like, oh, so you are based on front end. And I already knew where this guy was going to. Maybe the guy might tell me to send my what do you call it? Maybe my GitHub or something. And I don't have these things. So I was like, that I'm mainly based on design, so because that one I can defend very well, all right. So know where your strength is. In as much as I'm telling you, you can get writing jobs, you can know where your strength is. Know where your strength is. Know where your strength is, and make more emphasis on that place your strength is. Even when you're talking with clients, know where your strength is. I won't really say much about interviews because some of these clients is where they already, in fact, before the interview themselves, they have even made up their mind on what they want to do. So, but basically, you really know how to know where your strength is. Like I said about, and why I'm making so much emphasis about this whole thing is, you need to be like, I'm making more emphasis about being smart. Okay, I'm making more emphasis about being smart. Why I'm making more emphasis about being smart is because if you are not smart, things to let you buy. And there are things you don't even need. Like I said, there are things you do into crypto. Doing crypto, you don't even need a skill for. In fact, there was a time I just, in fact, to do well in the crypto job space, just be a solution provider. I think that's the best thing I can say for it. Just be a solution provider. If you know how to provide solutions, I'm telling you, you can do well in the crypto space. It's not basically about the skill you have. Like I said, build good networks. When you build good networks, it makes it easier for you. But the first way you need to think is to think about as a solution provider. When you're analyzing a project, your first question is, what do they need? Don't just go there, like I told you the other time, don't just go there and talk about yourself or talk about what you do. Your main focus should be, what do they need? Do they need a white paper? That is the angle you should come from. Do they need a good design? That is the angle you should come from. Is their website fucked up and they need a better website? That is the angle you should come from. Just because not all project has it figured out, especially when new projects are coming in. There are some of these, like I said, some of them are like, I even lost. Some of these founders are just enthusiastic about crypto, so they just get into it. Maybe they know how they can maneuver their way and get a token launched. All right. And they think the end there. They don't even have a team. All right. So these are some of these people. Maneuver it. Learn how to maneuver your way, rather. Understand these things. Read a project. Even though there are times you can just share randomly, like, oh, I'm a designer, send to 20,000 clients. But in a day, make sure you are reaching out to 5-10 people strategically. All right, 5-10 people strategically. And those journey now, I made so much emphasis on building strong networks. All right. If you want to try the crypto space, you can't do it alone. You need a click. All right. You need a click. I use myself for instance, and that's why I can freely teach all these things, because these are things that have worked for me. Most website jobs I've gotten, I've not done anyone. I think it's only 1 or 2 website gigs that I've actually developed myself. Most times I give it out, and because I have these people around me. I think there was this client that the time zone is, I think we had about 8 hours different or 6 hours different. So, but it's just like when it's midnight, that is when their day is starting. All right. So I could stay up and I'm developing a website around 2-3 in the morning. And another thing I want to say, be available. I said it last week here, but I want to make so much emphasis on it. The crypto space is wide, and the crypto rewards those who are consistent and patient and available. You must just be online. Even if you don't know what to be online, even if you don't know what you're doing online, just be online. How many of us have been able to join some job groups? How many of us have been able to join some job groups? How many of us have been able to join some job groups? Job groups, Web3 job groups. Web3 job groups. How many of us have been able to join? Okay, so I gave you guys assignment last week, and I said there are keyword search you need to use. I don't know if you guys did practice that. There are keyword search, even though just go to Telegram and type blockchain jobs, blockchain devs, crypto jobs, Web3 devs, Web3 designers. All right. Okay, it's fine. I think you should listen to the last recording for last week, because it's just part 2 of this section. So that's basically it. So today I didn't really want to speak much. I really want to take more of questions, because 1 or 2 of us have possibly tried to apply for jobs, and it didn't work out, or maybe we had any challenges at all. So I'll open it now. If you have any questions, please shoot. I think I've said a lot already about this whole job thing, and if you work with these things, you should be able to make you hit it right. So, any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Does anybody have any question? If you have a question, you can unmute and speak if you prefer, or you can type in the comments, whichever works for you is fine. If you have questions around, the whole job thing, the whole skill thing, whatever your question is.
Hello, good evening, Jim, everyone.
Yeah, GM, what's up?
Jim.
Yeah, GM, what's up?
Okay, I'm fine. Thank you. Okay, we'll say something about range. I didn't get what we're saying about the range.
All right, okay. In every skill, all right, every skill has like a salary, and one mistake you don't make online is if you go online and chat what is the salary range of a developer, they will give you what standard rate. All right, maybe they can give you what Binance pays their staff, but this is the crypto space, and most of the projects they are reaching out to are still, will I use the word undervalued, or they are still young. They don't really have that. They don't really have that financial buoyancy to pay you what it should be. In fact, even a graphic designer shouldn't be earning less than $1,000. In fact, the basic salary of a graphic designer should be around $1,500 monthly. But some of them know that, oh, we're Africans and we're Nigerians, and here, if you work for a Nigerian company as a graphic designer, your basic salary is like 50K. If they are paying you 100K, you're a big boy. In fact, I'm not sure there's any. In fact, for you to work as a graphic designer, just graphic designer, they're paying no, you're a very big boy. I think in fact, some people, what am I saying? 50K. 50K is like a big boy. Some people pay 20K, 30K, just as within design. All right. But these are crypto projects. So these people understand that, okay, Africa is like, in fact, some of them take Africans as cheap labor. All right. They prefer hiring Africans because they cannot, if they have to pay the standard minimum wage, all right, the standard international minimum wage, they are supposed to pay things like $1,000, $2,000 for just a graphic designer. A community manager should be earning about a 1,000. A community moderator should earn like $1,000, or at least, in fact, $700, $800. You get. So, but like I said, some of these people, it's easier for them to work with like Africans or Nigerians. But that notwithstanding, there you don't, because you're in Nigeria doesn't mean you have to collect peanuts. All right, you don't have means you have to collect peanuts. Like now, it's just that you have to be smart. So okay, because this is your beginning stage, especially if you are new to the crypto job stuff. All right. Actually, now there are prices I can't do things for. I think there was a time I did websites for. I did a website with my cousin. We did that website for, I think, was it $30 or $40? All right. I think it was either $30 or $40, or less than that. Now I can't do a website for you for $30. It's impossible. Even $100, it's not me you saw. Unless maybe it's just like maybe just something not serious, like for me to do it for $100, or maybe I'm just like I'm in a good mood. But honestly, right now, if you can know how simple the website is for me to take $100 for you for that website, I'm being very honest. All right, so this is in stages. So for beginners now, it's okay to build through the process. People could underpay you. All right, people could underpay you, and for beginner level, that's really okay. So talking about salary range now, like now, with my experience, a designer earns around like when you want to, as a designer now, you, for a monthly salary, you can earn around $500 to $1,000 straight. You can tell a client, designer, the same thing. Community manager, you can say things around 300 to 800. Social media manager, you can say around 500. In fact, all of them, community manager, community manager, um, social media manager, designer, writer, their salaries are almost around the same thing. All right. So their salaries are almost around the same thing. Okay. Londro. Okay. Let me just tidy up this thing. I will reply to you. So for the crypto job thing, these four skills I mentioned now, their salary are around the same range. So it's okay to use the same thing for these skills: designer, writer, community manager, social media manager. You can quote the same salary range. I don't know if I've answered your question. Then for developments too, I think when the person that asked the question, for developments too, I think for as a developer, maybe they are hiring you full time. All right. If you are being hired full time, I think your range should be about $1,000 to $3,000. So in fact, it should be around $1,000 to $3,000 or $5,000. In fact, the basic salary of a developer, a Web3 based developer, should be around $5,000. All right. But if you're earning like three, some pay one, you just have to be smart about this whole thing. That's why I said it's good you use range, because the truth at the end of the day, you need the job, all right? And the crypto space is quite more jam-packed now, all right? Getting job is not really as easy as it used to be, because many Nigerians are knowing about this thing and they are flooding the space, all right? So you don't really have to be very selective with the price you give, or you don't have to give a very hiked price. I've made that mistake in the past. I'll just guys be like, what does it cost to this thing? I'll just blow one price for him, and he gets the whole thing fucked up. So, but you have to do it. You have to actually be reasonable when you are putting a price. Don't say something too low, because when you say something too low, it now looks like you don't know what you're doing, all right? Because they are very skeptical too. So I don't know if I cleared up that thing. So any other question? Okay. Mario, I don't know, or Trevor, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Knowing about crypto, just want to be a crypto. Well, this is the right place to be. I think Danny dropped the beginners videos from our YouTube so that he could watch them and go through. So, um, any other questions, please? Any other questions? Danny, Danny, are you here? Yeah, Danny,
Yeah,
drop.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, I think, does anybody have any questions?
I have a question to ask. So,
Okay, okay, cool, shoot.
all right. You said something about sincerity. That in the crypto space, you have to be sincere. We're
Mm.
dealing all for jobs. Okay, so what about since we are just starting, or some of us are just starting, and then they ask you for some of these crypto jobs, will ask you for experience or job experience. Or they will specify they want someone with maybe 2 3 years of working experience. So, how do you go about that?
Well, I'll be very honest with you. Sometimes that is why I I said you should start from simple skills. Like as a designer now, you just apply. If even if you see requirements and they say, oh, they need someone with 3 years, that is why I said don't apply to projects now, because some of these things now are just the official requirements. You can actually reach out to the team member direct, or maybe the founder direct, and talk to the person one on one, and you see that you don't really need that requirement. All right. So that is
Okay.
what I made emphasis on. Instead of reaching out to projects, reach out to people. Don't reach out to projects. Reach out to people. And reaching out to people, I mean, is reaching out to the actual owners of those projects, because, or actual team members of those projects, because even that there's how this crypto space works. One person can be handling like 3 4 projects, all right, or be connected to 3 4 projects. So even if the person's own personal project is filled up for that vacancy, the person could be part of another project that needs that your skill. All right. That is why you don't just go to LinkedIn, you apply, or you go to send they tell you to send your email, or the message, all this they put out this thing on their website and you send them. If you do that thing, you might you might never get the job. I'm sorry to say like this, but it's just you might really never get a job. Reach out to people. That has been my policy. Reach out to people. If you reach out to projects, you might never get that job. But when you reach out to people, because some of your email, if you send emails, that email might never get opened. But it's just like me now. If you send an email to the Cascade website, I might not see it. But once you message me on Telegram, obviously, I will see it. Because these people have personal lives too, and they have these work accounts too. So it's easier to reach out to them on this platform than going to the whole email thing. Even though some of them will be like, oh, send me an email. Or that's you reach out to them privately, like, okay, send me an email or send this thing to an email. It's fine. So and something I said about that sincerity is I said know where your strength is. All right, know where your strength is. Don't go and carry a job that you cannot defend. I'm not saying a job you cannot do. Even if you can't do that job, just know that you can defend it. You understand what I'm saying? Even if you cannot do that job, like now, I can take a development gig because I can defend it. I can take a writing gig because I can defend it. I can take a design gig because I can defend it. It doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, I can do it or knowing how to do it or not doesn't matter. It's can you defend it? Can you take an interview now? Somebody, okay, maybe you don't really know much about writing, and someone will say, oh, let's hop on a call and ask you, okay, what have you written? What do you know about writing? How long have you been writing for? Hope you say something that makes sense. It's knowing how. That's why I said you have to be smart. That's why I mentioned being smart. So you have to be smart to know how to, maneuver your way through these things. So I don't know if I answered your question. I don't know.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. In the absence of questions here, I think we'll call it a wrap for this crypto job series. But if you have any questions around it, you can always drop it in the community. Is that okay? So